In part 1 of my WKRP Apollo Lucifer video, I made a connection between Venus, Apollo, Santa, Satan, and Sol Invictus. So what more could I add to that, you say? Well, let me begin. I made a video some time ago called The Black Rock and Saturn's Cube. I showed an old map from 1595. It showed the landmasses at the North Pole. At the center of the North Pole was, or is, a place called the Black Rock. Now, paid-off historians will tell us that the Arctic has been covered in snow for a gajillion years, but the map contradicts that, doesn't it? As kids, we were told that Santa was a jolly good old guy. The official story from Wiki is that he was based off Saint Nicholas, a good guy. But is this accurate? Well, Santa Claus does wear the colors of evil, doesn't he? Red, white, and black. Although, to be fair, in some of his depictions, he is wearing red, white, and brown. Also, as kids, we were told that Santa Claus lives at the North Pole. As we become adults, we are told Santa isn't real. In my last video, I showed that Santa and Satan were one and the same. So then, who lives at the North Pole? Santa or Satan? Now, just listen to Hulk Hogan from 1996 at a WWE wrestling event. Here are a couple of clips.
Is this right here is the future of wrestling. You can call this the new world order of wrestling, brother. These two men right here came from a great big organization up north. That's why these two guys here, the so-called outsiders, these are the men I want as my friends. They're the new blood. With Hulk Hogan in the new blood, the monsters with me, we will destroy everything in our path, Mean Gene.
They have come to steal, kill, and destroy. That's what the Bible says. But yet, people today are given to strong delusion. They still believe in their idols, like Hulk Hogan. HH 488. HH for time and space. He was born on August 11th. That's 8/11, or 8 times 11, 488. Another 88. And August 11th falls on the 223rd day of the year. That's 322 backwards. He also mentions billionaire Ted in the segment, so people might think that Ted Turner is the guy from the north, but this is a smokescreen. All of these people at the top have sold their soul. That includes Hulk Hogan. He knows Satan is real, and he gave a clue as to where he is at, didn't he? I guess Santa is a real person in a sense. So does Santa Satan live up north? Who else are we told who lives up north? Well, Superman, of course. The Man of Steel. Steel and watery clay? He is also the man with a snake emblem on his chest. The serpent from the chest. Superman, the representation of Apollo Lucifer, who gets his power from the sun. Apollo, Helios, and Ra are sun gods. So here's a clip from the Smallville TV series back in 2005. This comes from the episode Lexmas out of season 5. Here's the clip.
How many are there?
Couple thousand, give or take. Now, I map-quested these addresses, and the sooner you can get started, the better. Here comes Santa Claus.
So the character Chloe puts a Santa hat on young Superman. Superman, the sun god Apollo. Also, Superman lives at the North Pole just like Santa, in his Fortress of Solitude. Superman's Fortress of Solitude is made of a bunch of crystals that are thin and pointed, like needles. They are basically crystalline needles. What else is a crystalline needle? A diamond. On old record players, diamonds were used to transfer sound from the record to the player. Superman's chest emblem is in the shape of a finished diamond. There is an S, or a snake, inside the diamond-shaped emblem. So, There is a snake inside the diamond needle that receives sound. It receives frequency. The WKRP character Venus plays records as a DJ. Remember, records have spirals in them. Spirals are portals. So Venus playing the sound frequency using the diamond needle creates a portal of sorts. People can change when they hear a certain song. However, when looking up Superman, I discovered something. Superman isn't the only one with a Fortress of Solitude. The comic character Doc Savage came out in the same time period as Superman. Doc Savage's fortress is a dome. It made me think of a sphere. So Superman has a fortress of needles, and Doc Savage a fortress like a sphere. This, of course, makes me think of the 1939 World's Fair. The Trilon and Perisphere were there, the Trilon being the needle, and the Perisphere representing the womb. God has put enmity between the seed of the serpent and the womb of the woman. However, Lucifer thinks he has solved that problem with needles, hybridization, the mixing of the seeds, the X, the crossing. In the Superman movie with Christopher Reeve, he inserts himself into a track to prevent the train from crashing. In a previous video, I showed how train tracks represent DNA. So we have Superman, the serpent seed, inserting himself into our DNA. Here's the clip. Do you see how this symbolic programming works? They tell us exactly what they are planning through our entertainment industry. Now, Lucifer thinks he is the good guy in the story, that he is Superman. Think that it's far-fetched for Superman to represent Lucifer? Check out this next clip from Superman 3.
Gosh, is he all right?
What did you see? For starters, there is a biblical reference of the kid with the head injury. As in Genesis, he will crush your head. But instead of the serpent, it's the boy. And who comes to save the boy? Superman, the serpent seed. But there is more. You see, the boy is saved in a wheat field. And coming straight for the boy is a combine with the name Wheat King. Who is the Wheat King? Well, that is Jesus. When the time comes, Jesus will harvest the wheat from the tares. So what Superman is doing here, he is saving the boy from Jesus, pulling him from the wheat, implying that he is taking him to be with the tares. Still think Superman is the good guy? But back to Doc Savage. He was created in 1933. He is the man of bronze. Well, bronze is a copper alloy consisting of 12% tin and 88% copper. There's that 88 again. Time and space. So they made Doc Savage the man of bronze for a reason. It's all symbolic. It makes him the copper blood, hemocyanin. Another representation of Lucifer, the serpent seed. Also, there's an alloy called phosphor bronze. This is a combination of copper and phosphorus. White phosphorus was discovered in 1669. It emits a glow when exposed to oxygen. It was named after Lucifer, the light bearer, Venus. So yes, there is a connection between Doc Savage, the man of bronze, and Lucifer. Now, the version of Superman that we know today was officially created in 1938, a year before the 1939 World's Fair. But the creators of Superman came up with the idea in 1933. the same year as the creation of Doc Savage, for another 33 mention. In 1933, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster created Reign of the Superman. In this story, though, the Superman was the villain. As many know, this comes from the German author Friedrich Nietzsche, who came up with the term Übermensch in 1883. I'm not going to go fully into Friedrich Nietzsche here, but I will point out that he was born on October 15, 1844. He died on August 25, 1900, at 55 years old. So the Gemini numbers show up, 44 and 55. October 15th is the 288th day of the year, with 77 remaining. 88 and 77 for more Gemini numbers. August 25th is the 237th day of the year. That's the same room number in the movie The Shining. This relates to the rib cage of a human. It is another beast number. There are 2 floating ribs at the bottom, 3 false ribs above that, and 7 true ribs to top it off. 2, 3, 7. So far then, we have a connection between Venus, Apollo, Lucifer, Sol Invictus, Santa, Satan, Superman, and Doc Savage. In this clip from Smallville, there is a reference to Apollo Lucifer, as Lex Luthor talks to Clark Kent.
Lex, why is some state senate seats so important to you?
It's a stepping stone.
To what?
It's like Apollo asking Icarus why he's building wings.
But that's probably just a coincidence. But now to connect WKRP and Smallville. Remember in part 1 of this Apollo Lucifer series, I brought up Arthur Carlson's mother? Her name is Lillian, and I said that it was a take on the name Lilith, the Demon Queen. Well, I was stunned when I heard Lionel Luthor say this.
When Lillian died, I thought I'd never be whole again.
So Lex Luthor's mother's name is Lillian. That means his mother is Lilith, the Demon Queen. Amazing. What are the odds? Then I begin to think, what's with all the LLs? Lois Lane, Lana Lang, Lionel Luthor, Lex Luthor, and Lillian Luthor. That's 12 and 12 alphanumerically. But right now, I don't know what that means. I should also point out that Apollo is also called Alexikakis. Well, that has the name Lex in it, doesn't it? It also might be where Amazon got the name Alexa. And here is another connection between Superman, Doc Savage, and yes, WKRP. You see, the character Dr. Johnny Fever is a DJ with many names. One of them mentioned in the show is Johnny Sunshine. Here's the clip.
Now look, Johnny has played a lot of different characters on the air. Johnny Fever, Johnny Duke, Johnny Style, Johnny Sunshine, Riptide. It's just an on-the-air persona.
Brother Vibe? What, Sunshine, Duke, Style, Cool, Midnight, no.
So when I was looking into the Doc Savage character, I noticed that one of the villains that he fights is named John Sunlight. How about that? He is the only villain to show up in more than one issue. So the writer wanted you to remember that name. Apollo is the sun god. He is the archer. He is the bringer of disease and gives healing. Yes, he can bring deadly plague with his arrows. So here is an image of Marina Abramovich. She is holding the bow while this guy is pulling the string. It is pointed at her chest. Apollo's arrow pointed at her chest. The spear in the chest. The serpent from the chest. The syringe. Possession. The takeover. Venus, Apollo, Lucifer. The bringer of disease and the cure. Well, that's all for this video. I will point out more WKRP weirdness in the future. So thanks for watching, and it's a good time to seek Jesus.